If I could choose any character in Harry Potter as a teacher, I would want Professor McGonagall to be my teacher. I feel like she would be that one teacher that gives you a lot of homework that you hate, but in the end you would learn a ton and secretly love her. And she seems like the kind of teacher that when you do well in her class, she loosens up a bit. If I could choose any character in Harry Potter to be my sibling, I would definitely want Fred and George to be my brothers. They are hilarious, and I love how they always tease Ron, but are great friends, and they would just be fun to have around. I also find them very relatable, believe it or not.
If I had any character from Harry Potter as a teacher, I would want Hermione Granger. Although she does have the brains, that's not the only reason I would want her as a teacher. Hermione is so excited about learning, and I feel like she would want to teach you everything. Class would be exciting, and you would learn a lot. If I could choose a character from Harry Potter to be my sibling, I would choose Hagrid. I would choose him because he's kind and funny. I think he's almost always happy. He treats Grap like he isn't different, and he accepts him as a brother. I feel like he would love me no matter what.
This is Potter Watch, a podcast for the magically inclined of all ages. In episode 5, we break the mold and interview two witches at once. Izzy Chang and Greta Cotraccia are two fierce fans and great friends who know how to have fun and take life in both worlds seriously. We cover everything from the GeekyCon convention to cosplaying to how to avoid the perils of wielding power without meaning as these steadfast fans share their stories. So get your wands out. Here we go. Okay, you guys ready to go inside the pensieve?
Allons-y!
All right, well, welcome to episode 5 of Potter Watch. This is the first time we've had two people to interview at once. So to get things started, I'm going to ask you guys to introduce yourselves.
I'm Greta Cotraccia. I'm 13 years old. I'm a Hufflepuff. I started reading Harry Potter when I was 7, and I'm from Ithaca, New York.
My name's Izzy Chang. I am a proud Ravenclaw. I'm 13 years old, and I have been reading Harry Potter since I was around 7, and I am from Ithaca, New York.
All right. So a Hufflepuff and a Ravenclaw.
Woo.
Now, do you guys, my first question for you is, do you think it's easy for a Hufflepuff and a Ravenclaw to sit next to each other and talk about Harry Potter?
You can go first.
I think... no, you can go.
Okay. I would say Hufflepuff, and this might just me being, like, biased, but I think Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw are two of the more, like, not accepting, but, like, I don't know, I feel like they interact with the other people in other houses, like, more smoothly. For a Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, like, we met each other and we didn't know we were Harry Potter fans, and then once we did that, instead of saying, oh, well, I can't hang out with you, I'm a Ravenclaw, or I'm a Hufflepuff, it kind of strengthened our friendship. So.
Yeah, I think it strengthened our friendship because I feel like most Hufflepuffs, I'm not saying all Hufflepuffs, are really, like, understanding and really listen to you, and you can tell that they're listening to you.
You said most, because you know I'm not.
But, and Ravenclaws, I know, I can go on talking forever. So it's a good match, and I think that because you have two different opinions, because you value something different than the other person the most, that, you can have little arguments or little debates, and then you can, like, get opened up to a new side of Harry Potter that you never would have seen if you didn't know someone else from a different house. I never thought that Harry Potter would be something big in my life. I thought it would just be a book that I read when I was little. Mm-hmm. But there are points in the book where I would just be crying or I would be laughing, and it just, like, affected me so much that I realized it's not just a book. It's, as I said today in school and everybody laughed at me, it's my religion. So it's opened me up to, like, new friends like Greta and new places. Like, this last summer I went to Florida to go to GeekyCon, which is a convention. Right. And I actually went with Greta, which is really fun, and it just made my whole entire Harry Potter world just expand into new places.
Yeah, I was, kind of when I first started reading it, it was just a book, and it was one of those things, like, where you'd get really excited about it or something, but when I was little, the most that I was involved with is I'd just be like, guess what just happened, blah, blah, blah. But now it's kind of, when we went to GeekyCon, that was a huge experience, and it's changed my way of thinking.
Well, I noticed something already, that the two of you talk about the houses of Harry Potter, Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw. And when you start talking about the houses, you talk about the values that are associated with each house and revered the most. So it seems that values are something that you are having conversations about more regularly as you compare the houses. Yeah. And I know a lot of that kind of talk goes on at GeekyCon. Now, not all of our listeners may know what GeekyCon is. So could the two of you take a minute to explain the history of GeekyCon? Because as I understand it, it started out as a Harry Potter based.
Yeah, so last year, 2015, was the first year that it was GeekyCon. Originally, it had been LeakyCon, and which was exclusively Harry Potter, and that had been going on for a while. And that would travel from different places, like not even around the country, but they would have it in London sometimes and other parts of the world. So, but last year was the first year it was officially GeekyCon, and so that opened up to Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings, all sorts of anime and crazy obscure other fandoms. And it's now always annually going to be in Orlando, Florida.
It started out as LeakyCon, which is just one fandom, which is Harry Potter, but now that it's GeekyCon, it's expanded to like multiple fandoms, not multiple, but a bajillion of fandoms. But LeakyCon is still going on while GeekyCon is going on.
Yes. Oh, I forgot to say
So
that.
you have kind of like a choice or an either or something like that. You can go exclusively to Harry Potter or to GeekyCon, and I think that GeekyCon is still going to be like a lot about Harry Potter, but if you're just looking for exclusively Harry Potter,
and there's like huge cosplay, and like last year I was Dobby, Izzy was Winky, and my sister was Hokey, and so we cosplayed as house elves, and cosplaying is definitely something that like people will like remember you for.
Did the choice of who you cosplayed as have a lot to do with the books or with something else? Like, how easy it was to make the costume?
Well, I mean, this is the first time that at least I have like cosplayed and gone out to something like besides Halloween and stuff, because it was my first convention and stuff. But I think house elves were something that one was like because Dobby and Creature are the only house elves in the movies.
Yes.
So it wasn't as based on like a character image. It was more of not the meaning. Well, kind of the meaning, because two of the characters weren't even in the movies. So we made them pretty much from scratch and from the help of like fan art.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all for appearance. It was,
it was kind of something else to like bring the books to real life as well.
Yeah.
Because Hokey is like a really important part in the books, like with the locket and everything. And Winky is just a house elf with a drinking problem. How can you leave that out of a movie?
I know.
So it was like bringing our dreams and fantasies of what they look like into reality, and like showing other people what we take as Winky and Hokey.
Yeah.
Did you find that cosplaying as house elves somehow brought you closer to the stories?
Yes.
Or helped you relate to the stories differently than if you had never cosplayed before?
It's like you're dressing up as a, I mean, it is like you're dressing up as a character in the book, and like it makes you feel like you're in the book and like you're now in the real world, and you can like live your life as
That character.
that character, but in the real world, and it's just something that you relate to the book so much more as.
And I think partly because we were house elves, we didn't get treated like house elves, but I feel like the way we were treated, because everyone was like, oh, I love your cosplay, oh, that's so cute, blah, blah, blah. And so you kind of, I feel like that's how Dobby kind of felt when he was freed, because he was kind of like, oh, people aren't going to treat me like I'm a slave.
Yeah.
And I'm going to... So, and I would say that it brings you closer to how they feel, the character that you're cosplaying as, but it also does the opposite. Because you don't feel treated as if you're in the wizarding world and people are treating you of like if Draco Malfoy came and like kicked you. Like no one came up to us and like kicked us.
Yeah.
But we were playing those characters and we acted how they would act, which affected how people around us acted, which brings you closer to the character.
Is a character costume a portal between both worlds?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like you're a human, but you're also a house elf. So you're getting treated like a human, but you're also partially getting treated like a house elf. Like, oh, it's so cute, but you're not getting reactions like, go get me a glass of water or something like that. Nobody asked us to do that.
That's true.
And I think, like I was saying before, people don't treat you as if you are that character, but if they're cosplaying, so let's say someone was cosplaying as Draco Malfoy, they, in their character, might be like, say something like, yeah, go get me a glass of water. But not actually saying, go get me a glass of water.
So you can also get away with things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might not be acceptable to humans.
But you also realize that they're joking.
Right.
And
Yeah, but I guess am trying to say is like it's not about. It's like you do get a taste if you're around a bunch of people that are cosplaying and like not just cosplaying but like acting.
Staying in character.
Yeah, staying in character. Then you will feel like how Dobby or Winky or Hokey would feel if they are truly like staying in character, and then you react how Dobby or Hokey or Winky would react, and you have like an interaction. That's what it would be like. So in that sense, you really are like feeling what it would be like to be a house elf, and you'd have people like Hermione who would be like really accepting and helpful, and then you'd have people like Draco and Lucius and everyone that are mean to you. But that's not being mean to you, staying in character.
it also brings you closer to other people because you're doing this little acting thing and you kind of get to know the person as they're acting.
Yeah.
And then you can make more friends. And I guess overall GeekyCon is a place where you can like kind of be yourself and express yourself however you want, and you can make friends by doing anything.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember like stuff like cosplay, like we kept seeing like we would recognize like certain cosplayers and we'd be like, oh, they cosplayed as this yesterday or stuff like that, and you would recognize them, and you would become like more, and they would recognize you, and you would become like build more of a friendship and stuff. And like I remember there was this one person that we met like on the elevator of our hotel or something, and then we saw them at GeekyCon the next day, and then we saw them in the pep band, and like we kept seeing them, and every time we saw them we'd like make eye contact and be like, I know you, and like have this little interaction like I've seen you before. And so, like, even little things like that, like
even saying, like, I like your costume, or how did you make that, can just, like, make you closer in more ways than you think it can.
And also, when cosplaying, definitely, people remember, if not even if it's a good cosplay, like if you're just cosplaying, people will remember that. Just because, like, maybe just like one little thing you're wearing or holding, people will remember and be like, wow, that was really cool.
I personally learned about at GeekyCon, and so it was really interesting for me to see something at GeekyCon in Florida, now in Ithaca, and the fact that I could join the Harry Potter Alliance in Ithaca. I could start a club, and then we could bring it to GeekyCon, and it's just something that is worldwide now, and even in different towns.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit more about the Harry Potter Alliance?
The Harry Potter Alliance is an organization with chapters all around the world of Harry Potter fans that get together to address real-world problems in the world. No, in their community. Got it.
Didn't we say this? Having character, you had this house elf character and you put it out into the world. You had a robe and you had sandals and you had a book with a sock in it. And people saw your character, right? People could see your character, and it drew them to you, and it allowed them to connect with you and get to know you. So what I want to know is, what are some ways that the two of you put your character out into the world in everyday life? The first one.
So I think I personally show my character, like, in just how I dress. Like, I wear this green wristband that says "The Star Won't Go Out," supporting Esther Earl, who died of cancer, who was a really big part of LeakyCon and fandoms in general. And so that shows, lots of people have asked me, like, what is this for? And it's part of me that I support this. Also, like, wearing a soccer jersey shows that I support soccer and I like soccer. And just, like, in general, like, maybe dyeing your hair color says a certain thing about you, or wearing glasses, or having tattoos maybe, or wearing certain types of jewelry, just all can express little quirks about your personality that makes you different from others.
Yeah, I think definitely one thing, how I dress is, because, I'm not always, like, dress Harry Potter every single day, but, like, yeah, I'll have my Esther bracelet on, or a Harry Potter shirt. Like, those little things I feel like are kind of part of me.
So when people wear, like, say the same shirt, or, like, try to twin, basically, like, you style it in different ways. So, like, if you say a black shirt, someone might wear a t-shirt, someone might wear, like, a long sleeve shirt, someone might wear something with written on it, and it's just different ways you say to wear something.
And everyone has a different
but
interpretation.
Everybody has a different, like, way of styling it, a different interpretation of how to wear it, and that reflects your personality.
I think definitely clothes kind of, not to speak for you, but I feel like we both, everyone has their style, has that, like, one thing they wear every day, or
like your hair as well, like the way you style your hair, or the way you cut your hair, or the way you, like, wear a certain hair clip, or wear a hat, or...
So what character in Harry Potter puts their character out there the most? What character in Harry Potter is the most stylish in the sense that we're talking about?
Luna Lovegood.
Okay.
Definitely, all the way.
Now, what?
Also Tonks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her hair color.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So let's go with
I'd like to
Luna.
say
What object tells you that's Luna Lovegood?
What about the
most?
lack of objects? Because I was thinking how...
Sure.
No, because, like, she'd never... Like her whole thing with her shoes...
I would
how she
say-
never wears shoes.
Like,
And yeah.
I mean, really, when I see the Spectre specs,
Yeah.
I think, or the glasses that
Sure,
Luna wears that are
Spectre
pink,
specs, yeah.
like that makes me think those are Luna's glasses.
Yeah, I think Luna's definitely almost an exaggeration of that question. Like, she has almost everything she wears is completely unique.
Yeah,
She doesn't wear shoes. She wears her dirigible plum earrings. She wears her what's it called? Oh, cork necklace.
Yeah.
Her Spectre specs. She carries the Quibbler.
She wears like bright colors that make her stand out against the dark robes that everybody wears.
Yeah, little things like that. Just like the way you wear your tie, or like when Umbridge is walking down the halls and like just waving her little wand, and like, you know, like there are like some boys passing, and she just like flicks her wand, and all of a sudden all their ties go like right up to their necks, and like everything, and all of a sudden all their clothes is all like super neat, and they're all kind of like you know, because like that's they could be wearing it like that, but they're not, and
Like,
there's
I
a
think
reason
that's
behind that. It's part of their personality.
Part of the reason why everybody hates Umbridge so much is because she wants everything to be like basically perfect for herself, and that's not letting other people show who they are.
And I think
Okay.
that's part of the reason.
You guys are headed, you know where you're headed?
Yeah. Voldemort's
Voldemort's
corner.
corner.
You're headed right for Voldemort's corner.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, you ready to go?
Always.
Frustrations of a young man. Oh yeah. Frustrations of a young man. Oh yeah. Frustrations of a young man. Oh yeah. Frustrations of a young man.
What I was saying before about how, or what Izzy was saying before about how Umbridge.
Excuse me?
How Umbridge kind of wants everyone to be like neat and proper and the same. I think that's something that's different about Dumbledore and Umbridge, about how they kind of control things. Is Dumbledore is totally open to like everyone just doing their own thing, and like totally like, you know, Luna can be Luna and Hermione can be Hermione. You know, everyone is just, there aren't like strict rules about that. But then when Umbridge has power, she wants everyone to be the same, and she puts up all these rules, and just everything has to be all neat, and that's not really what I never get is why, like, how bad guys like Voldemort and Umbridge, they want everything to be like neat and proper and kill people, and because once you've done all that and you have everyone like that, what's the point? Then you just have a bunch of people marching around to school, learning stuff, going off, and then getting old and dying. Like, what's the point of that?
I think part of that is because they want to be able to feel the power, like feel that they have control over everyone, and they can make everyone do what they want. And that's why they make everyone the same, so then they're the ones standing out.
Yeah, but like,
So,
if
what
Voldemort...
does neat and proper have to do with killing then?
Well, I mean, you're weeding out the not neat and proper people. That's what Voldemort's doing. If they don't want to follow him, he pretty much just kills them, because he's saying you don't want to follow my rules and be how I want it, which could be neat and proper or could be not. Then I'm like gonna kill you. And I think...
So is there
Yeah.
a relationship between making people neat and proper, or creating an environment that stresses uniformity, being the same, so that does that somehow force or create a situation where you're going to have people who fall outside of the rules or aren't so neat and proper?
Well,
Does that allow then somebody like Voldemort to have people to kill?
Voldemort is trying to weed out all the people who won't follow him because he feels that they're risking his power, and that he's not going to have all the power if there are people expressing themselves and being themselves, because everybody has to be this one way so that he can stand out and that he can have all the power. And it's not just everybody is themselves and everybody has equal power. It's he has all the power and he needs to be different from everyone else.
And they all have equal power, but not compared to him.
Yeah. And so they have to be the same to make Voldemort stand out.
How's Voldemort different than the Death Eaters?
I think the Death Eaters
They're
are...
followers too.
Yeah, I think the Death Eaters are actually scared of Voldemort and they don't want to cross him. And I know, like, Lucius and Narcissa, they don't want to be Death Eaters by the end of the book, right? They're trying... They are running around without wands, trying to find their son and trying to get out of there. And so I think they're scared because they want to be themselves and they want their son to grow up in an environment that he can learn to be himself and he doesn't have to kill Dumbledore. He doesn't have to do any of that.
Frustrations of a young man. Oh yeah. Frustrations of a young man.
I think, kind of backtracking a little bit, I think Voldemort, I think he needed to feel the power that he wanted to feel. He had to have his own opinion. It couldn't, just having power wasn't enough. He needed to change it into Voldemort's way. He couldn't just, like, let's say there's one ruler over the entire earth, and Voldemort agrees with this person, and he says, well, I want to control this, so he kills him, and he becomes the supreme person. I think Voldemort doesn't want that. He doesn't want just the power. He wants not necessarily to earn it, but to, like, have it. Like, he needs to weed out those people, because otherwise it's just like, yeah, I killed this one person, now I'm in power, or I got this person to...
Right, that's what I was wondering about.
He has to have...
There have to be outliers because part of what he does is to weed them out.
Yeah, because he's...
to feel powerful.
People aren't going to, like, be scared of him unless... And, like, it's not going to be... He needs it to be his, like, rule. He needs to say, okay, here are all these people. These people agree with me. These people don't. I'm going to kill them now. And force the people that I don't kill to be my way. So, to act and be who I want them to be. So that I truly have the power over them. And I can truly,
So maybe there's something the same about forcing someone to conform and killing someone who doesn't or won't, because you're able to, in both cases, exercise power, right? Because if everybody conforms and nobody steps outside, I think, is this what you're saying, Greta? Then that's not... Voldemort just doesn't want to have power.
He wants to be able to...
He doesn't want to be just the supreme guy.
He wants to be able to use his power.
Right, which you can't do if everybody goes along with what you want them to and nobody steps outside.
So, even though...
I think that's where the element of fear comes in.
How's that?
So he's killing all these outliers, and now that he's killed so many people, everybody's afraid. But there are those certain people who aren't afraid. They just want to be free. And those are the people that Voldemort kind of needs to kill to be in that mindset that he's accomplished something. He's gotten that power. And then there's the followers who are blindly following him because they're kind of scared of Voldemort. They don't want to die. They want to be free, but they want to have their life more than they want to be free.
And happy, yeah.
And so Voldemort is using his power and using his fear, using his power and using the fear that other people have of him to get more power and be able to use his power to a greater extent.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is Voldemort. He may be not only keeping it from other people, but also keeping it from himself. That he kills these people because he supposedly hates them, but he kind of wants them too, because he wants someone to step out of line so that he can show everybody, I'm in charge and I have the power here. So he supposedly hates them, but I think secretly he kind of like not necessarily like likes when they do that, but needs someone to do something
Right, maybe he needs it.
to show him to give him the power.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't even know that he needs it. Is there any evidence of that in the story? That he might need somebody?
Like Harry? He
Yeah.
needs to kill Harry. He's obsessed with killing Harry.
Yeah.
Like,
But is there any evidence that he doesn't, so that he can keep needing to kill him?
I mean, he confronts Harry every single book except for the third. But somehow, even when he's a baby, and then he's 11, and then he's 14, he keeps beating him when Voldemort clearly has way more power than him.
I think that's part of the reason why Voldemort is so obsessed with Harry. I think it's because part of him needs Harry to be alive so he can thrive on the way that he needs that power, the way that he needs to get that power. But the other part of him is so infuriated that he doesn't have enough power to kill a boy, 50 years younger than him? Something like that. Dumbledore, he has so much power. He has the Elder Wand, but he doesn't use the power for bad. He uses it, he's the headmaster of a school that teaches young people how to harness their magic, how to harness the power that they already have. But in Voldemort's mind, he's wasting the power he has doing something like teaching little kids when he could have all the power in the time that he's living and he could rule everyone. And I think like the different mindsets of people show different ways you can use the power.
And it may be a waste of time to teach people to share the power.
Yeah.
Because that's going to take away from the teacher's power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, to just go back a little bit, I think, kind of like I said before, how Voldemort might not know it himself. He's hiding it from other people and himself. I think, again, because there are some moments where he's truly trying to, like, kill Harry, and he doesn't realize it, or maybe he won't accept it, but I think he just really doesn't know it, that there's a reason Harry's not dead yet. There's a reason Voldemort hasn't killed him, and it's not that Harry's a phenomenal, fantastic genius. It's something inside of Voldemort that's just not letting him go all the way. Because sometimes he's truly trying to kill Harry, but there's just something that's either not letting him go through with it, or that's holding back, like, his entire
What could that
power. Well, I don't think it's something. I think it just, like, like that little voice in your head that tells you to do one thing or another, but he's just not paying attention to it or doesn't realize it's there. It's just like a self-conscious.
Do you think that has to do with the fact that a little bit of Harry is a Horcrux? Like, Harry is a Horcrux, and the fact that Voldemort can go inside of Harry's head, so can Harry do the opposite? Like, he can. You see it in the movies. So does Harry have to do with the reason why Voldemort isn't killing Harry? Is that
maybe
part
it's
of
like
the little voice in the head?
Yeah, because there's that one scene where Harry goes to Dumbledore and is kind of like, who am I? Like, am I Voldemort? Because
Do you think Voldemort ever has that moment where he wonders, is he Harry?
Well, wait. That's what I'm getting to. Because Harry has Dumbledore to go to get some, like, stableness. But because Voldemort wants to reach power, he has no one to look up to. He has no one to support him. And, like, yeah, he has his Death Eaters and, like, Wormtail, but they're all below him. So he doesn't have any... He's not gonna, like, say, like, man, I'm having this problem right now, because he doesn't want to show them his weakness. So he really has no one to say, who am I? And to help him figure all of this stuff out. So I think part of that goes into, who cares, I'm just going to go kill more people.
Oh yeah, frustrations of a young man.
to be honest, I think he's jealous of Harry in some ways because Harry does have all this support and love from his like family and his friends, and like Voldemort like killed his family and
so maybe
doesn't have any friends.
He hides behind his power.
Yeah, and he says, "Oh, I'm so strong, I can kill people and I have power." But that's not, kind of like I was saying before, why have this perfect world when there's nothing, like, everything. What I was going to say before that I kept wanting to say but could never really fit it in is, like, as the books and, well, especially the movies, because you can visually see it, go on, they start getting, like, darker and like, color scheme-wise, like, darker and grayer, and, like, the 7th is, like, very, like, the whole 7th battle and everything, well, because it's a battle, but still, and everything just gets very gray, and I feel like that's kind of, as Voldemort is getting all this power and getting so much more, it's getting worse and worse and worse, and so once he does get ultimate power, how bad is it going to be, and why would you want to control that? And I get how his, like, lack of love and all of this stuff that's happened to him in his messed up past, I get his motivation to have this power, and I get this need to have that. But I'm saying I don't think he ever realizes, like, once I have complete ultimate power, like, and I kill all the people that are ever gonna, like, doubt me, one, either you're gonna kill everybody, and then it's just gonna be you. What's the point of that? Or you have these people that just march around and do everything you say, and then you have nothing else to do. You're just going to sit there all day just watching everybody march around and do what you want them to do, and there's no satisfaction in that.
He's kind of dug himself into a hole, or I guess in this case, built himself a mountain or something. He got all that power by splitting himself into Horcruxes, by killing people when he needed that love, but he got the power he wanted, and he's kind of on top of this mountain by himself, where he has all the power, and everybody down below is, like you said, either marching around or dead. And so he says to himself something like, I have all this power, but I'm still not happy, and I still need more, so I'm just going to build this mountain even higher and higher and get myself more and more power, and maybe that will make me happier, and that will make me content with what I've done with my life.
Greta.
And to go back to what Izzy was saying about how, like, Dumbledore and Voldemort, just kind of the differences, but I think we could go on for hours about Dumbledore and Voldemort, but, like, just to scratch the surface, Dumbledore had, like, a challenging past, like, as well as Voldemort. Like, they grew up actually pretty similar. I mean, they both lost family, and, like, Dumbledore lost Ariana, and, like, all of that, and with Aberforth, and, like, and with Grindelwald, I always have trouble saying that, but, and the whole greater good thing, they both Voldemort and Dumbledore came to that choice of, I could either go for the greater good and say, yes, wizards are superior, we are going to let muggles know that and control them. Or they could go a different route and say, you know what, we're all people, we all have opinions, we all have lives and different personalities, and I'm going to accept everybody of who they are, and I'm going to help people discover who they are and learn more. And Voldemort took the path of the greater good. That's not really the greater good. Like, but wizards are superior. We're going to rule over muggles, because he went the power direction. Dumbledore went the love direction and said, I'm going to accept everyone. And he had that choice, and he was so close to going the power route. But he said, you know what? I know that's not right. I know that's not my opinion. That's not who I am. And so he went the love route and said, I'm going to because he didn't even take the Minister of Magic job because he knew, like, that's the power thing again. I'm not going to let that come back and take me over again. I'm going to stay with what I know is right. And so he went and he became a teacher and he taught these people. And yeah, he taught Tom Riddle. But in the end, it's not about, it's not Dumbledore's fault at all that Tom became Voldemort. I think if Dumbledore wasn't a part of his life, it would have turned out he would have been even worse, if that's even possible.
Oh yeah, frustrations of a young man. Oh yeah, frustrations of a young man.
Because Dumbledore took him from an orphanage and gave him a home, and they were, and Dumbledore decided to teach the students, but it was Tom's decision to become Voldemort. Tom came to that path, that forked path, where I could go for the power of the greater good, or I could follow in Dumbledore's footsteps. And he said, you know what, I'm not going to do that, because he didn't, I feel like part of that was because Dumbledore, even though they went through such similar things and they had so many problems, Dumbledore still had more support than Tom did. Even though he went through all this terrible stuff, he had more support. And I think that's really what it comes down to. If you're shown the love that, you will repay the people that showed you love and people that didn't show you love. If you have that small bit of love that you can follow, and you have something that says this is how, someone that has guided you and says this is how you are nice to people, and this is how you think on the bright side, and this is how you just kind of guides you along the right path. It's all kind of where your roots came from, how you grew up and what kind of support you had, because Albus had more, and so he went down the love road and showed, and he was to a lot of the students and to Harry. Harry didn't have a family. He grew up in a terrible household, and he totally could have ended up like Voldemort. He had an absolutely horrid childhood, but he had people even Ron and Hermione, his peers, and Dumbledore, that guided him along the right path, and now he's a great person teaching his kids to do that, and though he's not a teacher, he's still guiding people down the right path. But Voldemort decided, I'm gonna lead people down my path, but still not let them get to my level, because I'm still better than everybody. And he said, okay, I'm gonna make people follow me, and I'm gonna make people follow me, and I'll act like I'm helping them, but never let them get to my height, because even though I act like I'm helping people, I'm still better than them, and I'm gonna make sure they know that.
Going back to Albus, the difference between Albus and Tom choosing the two different paths. Albus, I feel like he would have chosen the power path if the accident with Ariana didn't happen, because he was so blinded with power. But when Ariana died, he realized, if I do this, I'm hurting the people I love. So I need to help people figure what I had to figure out by someone dying. I'm going to help people figure this out earlier. But Tom, he didn't love anyone. He didn't purely love anyone. And so when it was time for him to decide, am I going to love people, or am I going to take all the power? He didn't know that he could love people. He didn't realize it. So he went down the power path. And I think Harry is a mirror image of Albus, because he had this horrid childhood, like Greta said, and he if Dumbledore and Hermione and Ron and all of his friends weren't there, he wouldn't have known what love was, because I don't think he would have, he wouldn't have known he was a wizard. He wouldn't have known what happened, but once he figured that out, he wouldn't have realized the difference between good and bad, like good and bad harnessing your power. And so he would have gone down the power road, but because he had so many people supporting him, and because he was this person who didn't know anything, but everybody already loved him, he knew that, okay, I have this power that I've had since I was a child, but people still love me, so I'm going to use this to help the people, to repay them. Like, when Harry made the decision to go to the Forbidden Forest that one night where he knew he was going to die, that was also like a mirror image of a path. He could stay and attempt to fight where he knew some of his friends, even all of his friends, and all of the people who he grew up with who are fighting for him are going to die. And he told himself, well, I don't want these people to die because it's my fault if they die. So I'm going to take all the responsibility. I'm going to save the people I love, and I'm going to go risk my whole entire life. He didn't know he was going to survive. He said, yeah, I'm going to go die just to save my friends who have risked their lives for me. And that shows that he's choosing the love path because he's killing himself just for other people to survive. And those were the people who he grew up with and who supported him all through his life. So he's repaying them by dying, which is not the ideal way to repay someone.
And I think that's even a path of, like, the choice of the paths of love and of love. One of the love is mainly for yourself, but maybe not intended that way. One of them is fighting for the people that you love, but it's also kind of saying, I'm going to fight so I don't die. So, like, maybe it's not intended in a selfish way, but there is that hint of it in the background. And the other one is love, like, I really am not going to let my friends die anymore. I'm going right now. Like, and that's the more immediate response.
But I think that Harry knew somewhere in the back of his head that if I choose to stay and fight and everybody dies around me, it's going to be me versus Voldemort. And I don't think he knew that he had the power to defeat Voldemort. I don't think he knew about the power. So I think that's partially why he blindly chose the path for love, because he didn't realize he had all this power that he could harness just to defeat one of the greatest, well, maybe the greatest wizard alive since Dumbledore was dead. But
the most powerful, anyway.
Yeah. But he didn't know that he could defeat him, so he chose this path that he risked his whole entire life, like literally, just because he loved people. And he also realized, if I let all these people die and I can't defeat this person, then I let them die for nothing. And I don't want them to die, and then in the future they died for Voldemort to have even more power. I want them to get hurt and die for something that is good and something that they would want if they were still alive.
And he in that scene or section of the book, he does that over and over he even has the Resurrection Stone. He has 2 of the 3 hollows. But again, he throws that down and says, I'm not going there. I'm going to go, I'm going to die, and I'm going to end this. And I think that's, like, besides the whole Horcrux thing, that's part of the reason he didn't die. Because he truly thought he was about to die.
Also, another path. There's like a path and little mini paths out
Just
there.
like a spider web.
The Elder Wand. He chose to break it. He knew he would have ultimate power.
He could
have been...
I didn't even realize this, but if he had kept everything, he would have the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
By the end, if he hadn't thrown away the Resurrection Stone, he would have 2 out of the 3, and then at the end he would have all 3.
He could have been the new Voldemort with the Elder Wand. He could have had all the power. And when Ron was like, what?
Yeah.
You just broke the Elder Wand? I think it clicked that in both Hermione and Ron and even Harry that if he didn't break the Elder Wand, then it would have happened all over again.
Yeah.
There would have been a new Voldemort. There would have been new Death Eaters.
Draco Malfoy.
Draco. But I think this would turn better.
Yeah.
I think he went down that path too.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, everyone goes down those, like, those paths, no matter if it's something that's huge about deciding, like, how your lifestyle is going to be and what you're going to pursue, or something, like, that's really small, or, like, maybe, like, you know, like something in school, or something, like, with, like, who you're friends with or something. Everyone goes down those paths, and it will affect you in the future, no matter how small the decision is.
Mm-hmm. In a word, what is it that they were choosing rather than power when Harry broke the wand and threw it away? And as you say, they all recognized that they were going to go down a different path.
Love.
Also equalness.
Equalness.
Is that a word?
Equality?
Hey, there it is.
But, like, equality and then...
But I think equality is love.
Equality,
like,
of power.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that even is love, because love is saying I love you no matter
equality
who you are,
the power to
and I think
you are.
I love you, and I don't care if you're different from this person. I still love you both the same, which I think is equality. So I think that kind
equal
of
power
includes
to
it.
be who you are.
Yeah.
Which I think is love.
Yeah, because love is made up of so many different things that I think one of the main parts is you can be who you want to be, and that I'm going to accept you for who you are because I love you. I'm going to let you do this quirky thing, or I'm not going to yell at you because you're a Ravenclaw or you're a Hufflepuff.
We've come full circle.
So, like, it's loving each other has to do with so many different aspects, like being who you are, being in a certain house, not having to follow one person who has all the power. It's like an equal spread of everything.
You know, the first time that you tried to kill Harry, my dad told me it was really scary. We did not know if you ever were gonna come back to us, your people. When the curse reversed, it hurt you real bad. Some jerks were happy, no they were not sad. They said hooray, there's no way he's okay. Yeah, I think he has gone away, far away, there to stay, oh hooray. They didn't know that you were freaking awesome. Voldemort, I think that you are really freaking awesome. 'Cause you figured out what Horcruxes are all about. It won't take that much longer, you're getting stronger every day. And now those jerks are worried that you're coming back. Yeah, they're afraid that you will attack. And I know you will totally unmercifully destroy all non-believers. Now it looks like you'll be back in your place. But Dad was so glad he didn't punch me in the face. He said hooray, he's okay, oh Voldemort, yeah, I think he is back to stay. Praise the day I am gay, oh hooray. Voldemort, I think that you are freaking awesome. Don't you know that I want to be freaking awesome too? Won't you do me a solid and share with me your knowledge? Won't take that longer, I could get stronger every day. So much stronger.
was Voldemort is Awesome by Draco and the Malfoys. We hope you enjoyed another episode of Potter Watch. To stay connected with the show, you can now follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Podcast Potter. Feel free to send your feedback. Sign up to be a special guest or feature your Wizard Rock tune at potterwatchmail@gmail.com. As always, keep the magic alive. Potter Watch is produced by Tony Cotraccia in Ithaca, New York.